I gave her my world, my time, my loyalty, my heart. And in return, I watched her give hers to someone else right in front of me. You know what's worse than heartbreak? It's betrayal by the one you swore would never hurt you. This isn't just a story about a marriage ending. It's about love gone cold, trust shattered, and a man who lost everything only to rise from the ashes with someone who saw his worth when the world didn't, single quotes too. This is not revenge. This is rebirth. They say love is blind, but betrayal sees everything. It watches patiently, then strikes where you're weakest, right at the heart. I never thought I'd be telling this story, at least not like this. Not from the ruins of what used to be my home, my peace, my person. We were the couple people looked at and said, that's real love. We weren't perfect, but we were solid. 10 toes down through it all. The noise, the spotlight, the stress. Where she went, I followed. Where I stood, she stood taller. That's how it used to be. Our anniversary just 2 years ago still replays in my mind like a movie scene. I remember how she looked in that red dress. I told her she looked like fire, and she laughed that soft laugh only I ever got to hear. We danced in the kitchen after dinner. No music, just the hum of the refrigerator and our hearts beating in sync. That night, she whispered, "Forever," and I believed her. But forever is just a word. It's the actions behind it that make it real. Lately, those actions were disappearing, slowly like a candle running out of wax. Little things, less eye contact, shorter replies, quick exits. No more late-night talks in bed, just scrolling phones and silent ceilings. She came into the kitchen one morning, moving fast, already dressed, her keys in hand. No kiss, no smile. "I've got a studio session. I'll be back late," she said, like a line she'd practiced. I looked up from my coffee. "You've been back late all week." She paused. It's long enough for the silence to feel heavy. "It's music, P. You know how it is." And she was gone. Like that, the sound of the door closing echoed too loud. I sat there in that silence, letting the coffee grow cold, letting my thoughts start to whisper the things I didn't want to hear. Later that day, I drove to the studio. No warning, no call. I used to drop by all the time before. It wasn't weird. At least it wasn't supposed to be. When I walked in, the vibe was off. Heads turned. The engineer gave me a strange look. "She canceled this morning," he said, scratching his head. "Said she wasn't feeling well?" I nodded slowly. My jaw clenched. My instincts. They weren't whispering anymore. They were screaming. But I stayed calm. Didn't show it. Back at home, I sat in my office scrolling through Instagram, just mindlessly tapping until I saw it. A tagged story, Easy and Remy, sitting close, too close. They were laughing, looking real comfortable, real familiar. Caption read, "Cooking hits," but it wasn't the words that got me. It was the body language, the energy, the way his hand casually rested on her lower back, like it had been there before, like it belonged. I stared at the screen for a long time, zoomed in, zoomed out, replayed the clip again and again. And again. I told myself it was nothing, just studio vibes, just a working relationship. But deep down, I knew better. My heart knew, I just wasn't ready to admit it. That night at dinner, the silence was unbearable. Forks scraping plates, eyes looking anywhere but at each other. Something inside me gave in. "Do you still love me?" I asked. She froze, then looked at me like I'd said something ridiculous. "Where's that coming from?" She asked. "Just answer me." She dropped her fork, irritated. "I'm tired of this energy. Every time we talk, it's like I'm on trial." "I'm not trying to accuse you," I said, voice low. "I'm just trying to hold on to something that feels like it's slipping through my hands." She stood up without another word. "I need air." And she walked out. Again, they say when someone starts acting like they don't care, believe them. 2 days later, it was raining. Not the loud, dramatic kind, just a soft drizzle. But it matched my mood too well. I sat in my car, parked across the street from a downtown hotel. My gut led me there. No proof, just feeling. But sometimes feelings know what evidence dose and single quotes. At exactly 9:43 p.m., I saw her. Remy, laughing, wearing the same jacket she claimed was for a studio night. And next to her, Easy. They were close, too close. His arm brushed hers. She didn't move away. They walked like they belonged together. Like nothing about what they were doing was wrong. They didn't see me. But I saw everything I needed to. I didn't confront them. I didn't even get out of the car. I just watched. I watched the woman. I built a life with walk into a hotel with another man, like it meant nothing. I drove home with my hands trembling on the steering wheel, not from rage, from disbelief. I didn't cry, not yet. That would come. Later, for now, I just sat in the driveway for a long time, staring at the front door of the house I bought for her. The house we painted together. Decorated together. Built dreams in dot. It's a strange feeling realizing the person you thought would never hurt you has already done it, and worse, they've moved on without a word. When she came home later that night, she acted normal. Told me the session. Went long. Blamed traffic. Gave me a kiss on the forehead and went to bed like nothing had happened. I didn't move. I didn't respond. Because the moment you've seen the truth with your own eyes, their lies don't even sting anymore. They just echo. That night, I didn't sleep. I laid there listening to her breathe, wondering how many times she had done. Wondering how long she'd been gone, even while standing right next to me. The hardest part of heartbreak isn't the pain. It's the silence that follows. The way someone can look you in the eye and still not see you, and just like that. The storm began, quiet, deadly, unforgiving. She still didn't know I saw them. That I sat in the rain, in silence, watching her laugh like I never existed. Watching the man she once called a colleague touch her like I never mattered. But that night, something inside me shifted. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. Didn't break anything. I just detached. She came home late. Again. The same half-lie ready on her lips. Studio ran long. I nodded. Said nothing. Let her go upstairs. Let her change into the pajamas. I bought her. Let her sleep in the bed I built for us. Let her dream peacefully while I lay awake, eyes wide open, staring at the ceiling that now felt like a stranger's sky. I started paying attention. Every detail, every text she didn't show me. Every laugh that wasn't meant for me. Every time she left the room to take a call, it all made sense now. All the late sessions, the coldness, the distance, the way she stopped asking me how I was doing, how she stopped kissing me on the cheek just because. The woman who once couldn't sleep unless she was curled into my chest now barely touched me at all. And when she did, it felt hollow, forced. I wasn't angry yet, just empty. Like grief was slowly replacing blood in my veins. A week passed. I said nothing. She acted like everything was normal, and I played along. Until I couldn't dot it was a Thursday. I got a call from someone in the industry, not a close friend, more like an old acquaintance. But his words hit me like a brick. You and Remy still good? He asked. I paused. Why? Just might? Want to keep your eyes open, bro? Easy ain't just in the booth with her. Word's been going around. I hung up before he could say more. I didn't need gossip. I had the truth, seen it with my own eyes. That night, I told her I wouldn't be home. Said I was crashing at my cousin's place. She barely reacted. Okay, be safe, was all she said. But I didn't go anywhere. I stayed. Quietly, in the dark corner of our house, where the cameras didn't reach. I waited and right on schedule. 2 hours later, she left. I followed, slow, no headlights, no sound. She met him, same place, same man. And this time, it wasn't just walking into a hotel. This time, I watched her kiss him, soft, familiar, intimate. It wasn't confusion anymore. It wasn't emotional curiosity. It was a relationship. It was betrayal with full awareness, and it broke me in a way no words can explain. You think you'll be angry? You imagine rage, violence, explosions? But the truth, it's the real kind of heartbreak. It's silent, happens quietly in the chest like a slow implosion. No screaming. No crying. Just this crushing pressure that makes it hard to breathe. I drove home again, slowly, hands on the wheel like they didn't belong to me. My vision blurred. But not from tears, from disbelief. I sat outside the house and stared at it. Everything. Inside was mine. The furniture, the memories, the framed photos. And yet, it no longer felt like home. She came back around 2 a.m. I pretended I was just returning too. Played dumb. Told her my cousin and I stayed up watching old music videos. She smiled, said, "That sounds nice." It was the last time I lied to protect her. The next day, I met with a lawyer. Filing papers felt like betrayal too. Not to her, but to the version of us I held on to. But there was nothing left to save. She had already left. I was just catching up. When I came home that evening, she was on the phone. I could hear her from the hallway. She was laughing. That same laugh I hadn't heard directed at me in months. "I'll call you when he's asleep," she said, her voice soft. "You know he barely talks these days. He's probably checked out." She was right. I had checked out. That night, I sat her down. She looked confused, maybe even a little scared. "What's wrong?" she asked. I stared at her for a moment before I said it. "I know." She blinked. "Know what?" "I know about you and Easy. The hotel. The lies, the late nights. I know everything." She froze. For the first time in months, she didn't have a comeback. No quick excuse. No deflection. Just silence. "Say something," I said. Her voice was small. "I didn't mean to hurt you." I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was the first time I realized how many times people cheat, then try to soften it like it was an accident. Like hearts just break on their own. "You didn't mean to? That's what you're going with." "I was lonely," she said. "You were distant. Cold, everything was changing. And Easy, he listened." "You were lonely," I repeated, stunned. "I was sleeping next to you every night, cooking for you, defending you, and you were out there giving pieces of me to someone else?" She looked down, couldn't hold my gaze. The guilt was finally catching up. But it was too late. "I've filed for divorce," I said. She didn't cry. Not right away. She just sat there as if the reality hadn't fully landed yet. "You don't have to do this," she whispered. "I already did." I said, "This isn't a punishment. It's a release for both of us." I stood up. "I hope he was worth it." She opened her mouth to speak, but no words came out. And that was the last time we shared a room. That night, I didn't sleep in our bed. I didn't need to. I'd already left it the moment I saw her choose someone else. And just like that, the woman I once called my everything became a stranger living in my house. A chapter closed without a single slam, just the quiet turning of a page. People think heartbreak is loud, all yelling, smashing, storming out, but the truth, it's quiet, unnaturally quiet. Like walking through your own house and not recognizing anything. Like hearing your name and not responding right away, because you forgot who you are without them. The days after I told her about the divorce passed in a haze. We still lived under the same roof for now. That's what made it worse. She was there, but she wasn't. We were strangers occupying the same silence. It's ghosts haunting a love that used to be alive. She stopped trying to talk. I stopped trying to understand. The distance between us was no longer emotional. It was physical. Slept in the guest room now. I slept wherever sleep found me. I didn't touch the music, didn't write, didn't record. My pen was dry, my mind empty. The pain wasn't inspiring. It was paralyzing. People started to notice. Friends reached out. You good, bro? They asked. Yeah, just tired. That was the lie I told most. I wasn't tired. I was hollow. The betrayal didn't just end a marriage. It ended something deeper. The belief that love was enough. I found myself replaying old memories. Not the ones that hurt, but the ones that felt too good to be fake. Our first tour together. Her backstage, jumping into my arms after a show. The way her eyes sparkled when she looked at me. The inside jokes, the lazy Sundays, the late-night studio runs. Were they all real? Was she lying even then? I started questioning everything. Just her, but me. Was I not enough? Was I too devoted? Did I miss signs that were always there? My therapist? Yeah, I got one. Told me, Papoose, stop blaming yourself for someone else's decision to be selfish. Said then done when you gave someone all of you. One evening, I sat in the garage, alone, no music. Just memories. I found the old notebook, the one we wrote bars in together. Her handwriting beside mine. Her verses filled with promises. My verses filled with protection. That's when I cried. Not loud, not messy. Just tears running down like truth dripping from wounds. I wasn't crying because I missed her. I was crying because I missed me. The version of me that believed in forever. That version deserved closure. Not for her, but for me. So I called her. She was upstairs. I could have walked up, but I needed the distance. She answered, confused. Hello. I'm going to leave tomorrow, I said. For good. This house, this chapter. I'm done. There was a pause. Then, where will you go? I don't know, I replied. Somewhere quiet, somewhere I can breathe again. She whispered, I never meant for it to end like this. I nodded, even though she couldn't see me. I believe you, I said. But that doesn't change. What happened? Silence. Then she asked the one question I didn't expect. Do you still love me? I took a breath. Yes, but not in the way I used to. Now I love you like a lesson. That was the last time we spoke. The next morning I packed. Just a few bags. I didn't want the furniture. I didn't want the dishes or the sheets or the wall art we picked out together. Let her keep it. Let her sit with it. I left her the keys and a letter. No insults, no bitterness. Just truth. I told her I hoped Easy was everything I wasn't. That he made her laugh the way I used to. That he held her down. That he didn't fold under pressure. But I also wrote this. You lost a man who loved you louder than the world. Who believed in you when you didn't believe in yourself. Who would have gone to war for your peace. And you threw that away for convenience or maybe comfort. But never forget what you betrayed was rare. And what I'm walking away with is clarity. Then I left, not with anger, with peace. That night, I didn't sleep in a cold guest room. I didn't wonder where she was. I didn't wait for footsteps in the hallway. I booked a small place by the ocean. Quiet, empty. But for the first time in months, it felt like freedom. The first few days were strange. Waking up alone, but not feeling lonely. Walking to the water without checking my phone. Breathing without fear of betrayal. I started writing again. Not about her, not even about the pain, but about rebirth, about healing, about discovering the version of me that existed before love complicated everything. I wasn't healed yet, not even close. But I was healing, and that's what mattered. Because sometimes the real flex isn't staying with someone who broke you. It's walking away when you still love them. Because you finally love yourself more. They say healing isn't linear. And they're right. Some mornings I'd wake up and feel like I could fly. Other days I'd stare at the ceiling for an hour before even breathing properly. Healing doesn't come in a wave. It comes in fragments. In little wins. Like the first time I laughed without it hurting. Or the first night I slept through without dreaming of her face. The ocean helped its silence, didn't ask questions. Its rhythm didn't lie. It just showed up. Every morning, honest, constant. I'd sit by the shore, hoodie up, headphones in, letting old beats loop. Some I hadn't touched in years. Some she used to freestyle too. But I didn't skip them. I let them play, let them sting, let them fade. That's how you reclaim your peace, by facing everything that broke you and choosing not to flinch. I started journaling, just thoughts at first, then rhymes, then full verses. They didn't come fast, but when they did, they came heavy. I wasn't writing revenge, wasn't writing for charts. I was writing truth, because somewhere between losing her and finding myself, I remembered who I was. Before the fame, before the stage lights, before the heartbreak, I was a man with a voice, and that voice had something to say again. I hit the studio, a small one. No entourage, no distractions, just me, a mic, and the weight of everything I'd been holding. The engineer listened after. I laid down the first track. He looked at me and said, "Yo." That felt like therapy. It was track after track. I poured it all out. The betrayal, the confusion, the nights I felt like disappearing. The mornings I forced myself to rise, but not once did I diss her. That's the part most people won't understand. This wasn't about dragging her name. It was about elevating mine. One song in particular, I almost didn't release it. Too personal, too raw. It wasn't even about her. It was about me. It's about being a black man taught to be strong, but never taught how to grieve. About smiling in interviews while my world fell apart at home. About carrying everyone else's weight while no one noticed I was drowning. But I dropped it anyway, and it exploded. Not because it was polished, but because it was real. Men hit me up. "Bro, I thought I was the only one." Women messaged too. You put words to what we feel but can't say. Even artists I hadn't heard from in years reached out. That track, that was spiritual. And for the first time in a long time, I felt seen. It wasn't about fame anymore. It wasn't about proving anything. It was about using my pain as purpose. Then came the interview request. Big podcast. Millions of viewers, they wanted the exclusive. I almost declined. I wasn't trying to be clickbait. But my gut said go. So I went, sat in that chair. Face calm, voice steady. They asked about the divorce. I told them the truth, not the drama. Just the facts. She made a choice, I said. And I made mine. We both have to live with that. Then they brought up easy. I smiled. Not bitter, just real. Let them be happy. I'm not here to curse anybody. I hope they understand. When you betray someone who would have gone to war for you, the karma don't come from me. It comes from life. That clip went viral, not because I aired dirty laundry, but because I spoke like a man who'd made peace with his pain. After that, the calls came in. Labels, podcasts, tours. But I wasn't in a rush. This wasn't about running from heartbreak. Anymore, this was about walking into purpose slowly, intentionally. Then something unexpected happened. I met someone, not planned. Not forced. It was a bookstore of all places, just she was humming an old Lauryn Hill joint. I made a joke about her being off-key. She laughed like sunlight. We talked for hours, no flirting. No pressure, just connection. Real easy human. We exchanged numbers. She didn't know me as the rapper. She knew me as a man who liked poetry and dark roast coffee. That felt new. We started talking often late-night conversations, long walks, no pretending. I told her everything, the past, the pain. The process. Jyoti didn't run, she listened. And for once, I didn't feel like I had to be strong. I could just be me. We're not rushing anything. This ain't a rebound. This ain't a replacement. This is something unfolding on its own time. And that, more than anything, reminds me there's life after heartbreak, there's rhythm after silence, there's poetry after pain. I thought losing her would end me, but it didn't, single quotes. It rebuilt me, and maybe that's the point. Sometimes the worst thing that happens to you is the thing that sets you free, not because it didn't hurt, but because it forced you to choose yourself. So here I am, still healing, still writing, Still becoming. Not perfect, but whole. And as I stand on this stage again, lights on, crowd loud, mic in hand, I don't feel broken. I feel born again. And this time, it's all for me. Share this with someone who's healing. Drop a comment if you've ever had to choose. Peace over pain. And remember, letting go isn't weakness. It's power. Subscribe for more real stories that hit where it hurts and heal where it matters.